past 24 hours have been absolutely mad. So many twists and turns around the Enzo Fernandez deal. In today's video, I want to use this as an opportunity to discuss all the latest up-to-date reports around the deal. Have we failed in our attempt to sign Enzo Fernandez, or is there more life to come over this deal, and do we still have an opportunity? To move on with more positive news, today we have just announced the official signing of Badiashile, so hear my thoughts and impressions on that. And to end things, I want to give my predicted lineup for the game vs Man City for later tonight. Sorry for the late upload because I kind of did up my back after working out yesterday in the gym. I was doing deadlifts. I think I was pushing myself a bit more than I actually had to. Woken up like an old man this morning, so I might not be doing watch along stream because I don't think I can sit down for that long right now, to be fair. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and getting straight into things. So right now, let's discuss the official announcement of Badiashile, courtesy of the club's website. As it says, Benoit has completed a permanent transfer to us, signing a 7.5-year contract. That is absolutely ridiculous. I wonder how much he's set to earn from a deal like this, but honestly, I do think in terms of his profile and his ability, I think the guy's played for like 4 or 5 seasons now since he was 17. He's going to be 22 in March and he's got over 100 appearances clocked up already. So he has experience, and I do feel like he's one of those real deal youth prospects that have been able to really grow and improve because they got introduced to first team football at a very, very young age. Anyway, we can see Badiashile's photograph alongside, I think, Stuart and Christopher Vivell, who played a big part in trying to bring him to the football club. 6'4", Badiashile was a dominant defender in the air, but equally comfortable playing with the ball at his feet. That is the important thing right here for sure, and it does seem like we'll be set for the future now by having Badiashile and Cole competing for that left-hand side in the back four. Anyway, here's Benoit's first words after confirming the announcement. As he says, "I'm very happy to be here at Chelsea. I'm so excited to start playing for this club, and I can't wait to see the fans and start playing in the best league in the world." Todd Bowley and Mr. Egbali also said, "We are delighted to welcome him to Chelsea. He's an excellent young player who has quickly established a strong reputation for himself and has a huge amount of experience for his young age. We are sure he will form an important part of this team in years ahead." And obviously he's been given a 7.5-year deal. That's absolutely crazy, but that's the type of deals that Todd Bowley is looking to do. And to be honest with you, I feel like, you know, Gvardiol is not 3 times the player that Badiashile is. Badiashile has played an instrumental part with Monaco over the past few seasons now, especially when they've been competing to get Champions League football. And I think this is a smart, efficient signing. And maybe these are the deals we have to take advantage of more now and rely upon scouting and data to help us sign the best possible candidates for relative fees. So how do you guys feel about this news? Share your thoughts and opinions below. So right now, let's discuss the latest news on Enzo Fernandez. And I guess the question on all our minds right now is this deal off? If I was to give my quick hunch and opinion, I think personally there's still a lot more life to come from the story, and things will continue to develop and change as the days and weeks go on. But anyway, let's discuss how we've got to this situation to begin with. And we start off by discussing Fabrizio Romano's tweets that were dropping out very late last night in the evening. He reported that, sensationally, we only made an 85 million offer for Enzo Fernandez and not the reported 127 million. So that was a bit of a surprise and a bit of a shocker. And of course, naturally, Benfica turned that down. I mean, Rui Costa's been very adamant that if any club wants to sign Fernandez in this window right now, you must pay the full amount. Romano also reports that at this point in time, there are no plans to renew talks with Benfica at this point in time. I mean, it's a bit of a mad situation. Like, a part of me is feeling, did we just maybe guess the fact that we were looking to pay 127 million to be able to just start negotiations and hopefully bring Benfica's asking price down a lot more? Potentially, who knows? But one fact and reality is, Enzo Fernandez wants to sign for us, he's desperate to do so, and he has already agreed personal terms and wages to a contract as well too. So there's still some hope with this deal. It depends on whether we come back. So I guess this next piece of information that just dropped literally like a few minutes ago suggests the fact that the reason why we offered 85 million was because we included players as part of the deal. We included up to 3 players as part of this deal. So that included Hakim Ziyech, plus loans of Andre Santos and David Fofana as well too. Now, Benfica did express some interest in signing Andre Santos. Could they possibly open to taking him on loan? Maybe, but at the same time, Benfica, one of those clubs where they develop their own players and then flip them in the market for stupid multipliers. So would they really be open to taking on a player on loan that they don't own and developing him for us? I'm not too sure. Would Benfica necessarily need Hakim Ziyech when they have David Neres there, plus other options in the wing? I'm also not too sure. I have to say that I don't necessarily feel like this is an outrageous approach from us to be able to start negotiations to sign Enzo. I do think that this is still quite fair in a sense, around £75 million plus Ziyech, who had a great World Cup, plus 2 exciting, talented young prospects that will aid you throughout your season, especially with a player like Andre Santos. Yeah, I know that it's still on loan, but if you think that in the short term you have quality to rely upon, then you have the money to spend in the next window, of course, to boost your team. So I don't think it's necessarily disrespectful, but at the same time, it's nowhere near enough. So the only small glimmer of hope we still have in this deal is the fact that it was believed that Benfica would be open to a payment structure if the installments satisfy them and if the opening bid is big. So I think, in my personal opinion, that yeah, we can come back to hopefully try and secure something if we come back with more money and offer the installments. I think that as time goes on, the fact that Enzo Fernandez is putting a lot of pressure now on Benfica, I think it could force Benfica to have to sell and have to do business, depending on how resilient Enzo Fernandez will now be. And it goes back to something I said in yesterday's video where, I'm seeing a little bit of similarities between how we signed Fofana and our approach for Enzo Fernandez. I think Fofana, of course, would have cost us even more money if the player didn't stand strong and make it absolutely clear as possible as he could that he wanted to leave Leicester City. That's why the value dropped to more realistic terms. But regardless, so far I'm seeing the same signs from Enzo Fernandez. The fact that he just went back to Argentina on his own accord without informing the club, that's a massive sign of dissent. He's told the manager that he wants to move and he doesn't want to play for Benfica anymore. And I'm getting the impression that he won't agree to signing any contract extension with Benfica to even earn more money in the short term because he doesn't want his release clause to get even higher. So I think that as time goes on and as the situation develops, more talks will naturally come back and happen. Benfica, in my opinion, will be forced in a situation where they'll have to decide, are we going to risk keeping an unhappy player here that may not perform the same way throughout the entirety of the season? Or do we use the window of opportunity right now to sign the replacements? Currently guys like Alcaraz, the box-to-box they're looking at from Argentina, Southampton are looking at him, Man City are looking at Peroni. They're losing out on options and targets right now. But for me, I think that they will be forced to have to really consider, do we let him leave right now so we can start to move on and reinvest the transfer money? Let's see what happens. Now that I've explained the similarities in our strategy with Fofana and Enzo Fernandez, there is a big risk though, and that risk is Benfica Leicester City. Benfica have had a reputation across Europe for years and years and years and years. They only sell at the value that they want. So could they really be lowballed like this? Could we really use kind of dirty negotiation tactics to be able to buy them for the price we want? Are we respecting Benfica enough? Of course, Todd Bowley and a lot of his team are new to European football in general, and negotiating for deals. Hence why we've seen a lot of player offers that might be accepted in American sports, but don't really tend to happen with football in Europe. Anyway, Benfica's manager came out not too long ago to give his thoughts and opinions behind the latest news.
Who want our player? They know we don't want to sell the player. They try to get the player on their side, and they know that they only can get this player when they pay the clause. So it's a very clear situation. What the club is doing, who wants to buy Enzo, is disrespectful against all of us, against Benfica, and I cannot accept what they are doing.
As you're seeing right here, he is not impressed whatsoever, and I don't blame him really. It is a bit of a disrespectful type of move to make, especially for a team like Benfica who don't ever bow down. Trying to use the player to force Benfica to sell for less. I understand why due to the ridiculous fees, but I hope that negotiations can find a way to continue on. I guess the only way to settle things now is to come back with a much more improved bid that satisfies Benfica's demands. So let's hope that something can go through. For me, I respect Benfica. Now, Benfica are definitely a club that I do respect. And because I respect them, I understand the fact that they will play hardball. For example, we can see how Liverpool signed Nunes from them eventually in the summer. They increased the valuation by 30 million for Darwin Nunes, where he was available in January for around 50, and in the end they wanted 85 million to sell. But Liverpool didn't have to pay the full amount in one go. Instead, they paid 64 million up front, and the rest was covered in installments. I say this because I feel like this is the type of business that Benfica are definitely open to, and in my opinion, it really depends on how high that initial base fee is going to be before we cover the rest in installments. If we find the right figures, I think this deal can still go through. The player still wants to sign for us, and we still have over 25 days left in this window to get something done. First talks have broken, but the overall talks are not dead. There is still more life behind the story. So you guys, share your thoughts and opinions. Are you still confident that we can capture Enzo Fernandez, or do you think the money is just too ridiculous and we should move on to cheaper alternatives? So right now, let's end things by discussing my predicted lineup for the game versus Man City. So right now, let's end things by discussing my predicted lineup for the game today versus Man City. But regardless, in this team, I've gone for Sterling, Mason Mount on the left, Havertz up front. In midfield, I've gone for Kovacic, I've gone for Jorginho, and I've gone for Zakaria. And in defence, I've gone for Cucurella, Thiago Silva, Koulibaly, Chalobah, and of course Kepa in goal as well too. And I'm going to give you guys some reasoning behind my lineup. As I'm really stressing at the start of this video, I think 4-3-3 realistically has to be improved upon, and there needs to be more time for the players to get used to playing in this manner. I think if you use Mason Mount as your wide left midfield player, listen, you're not going to get the 1v1 threat, but I haven't necessarily been seeing that from Pulisic. I think in a game like this versus Man City, how you press from the front is important, and I do think that Mason Mount does give you more protection when it comes to defending in the transitions and pressing higher up. So for tactical reasons, I could see him playing up front with Havertz and with Raheem Sterling, with Havertz and Sterling being those main attacking threats, and hopefully Mason Mount will drop deeper and behind them to hopefully try and supply them. Now the reason why I pushed Mason Mount up front was to have a strong midfield of Jorginho, Kova and Zakaria. Zakaria brings the power and the legs in midfield. Kovacic brings the press resistance. He's a player that you want to receive the ball in tight situations, play through the pressure, and hopefully release a teammate. And Jorginho, tactically, when he has good support around him, he does cover distances quite well. He does help you play out from the back equally too. I just think that, if we can kind of revert to like attacking with a 3 and then defending off the ball with like 4 midfields, hopefully that can nullify the wide threat of Man City. And obviously to end things in defence, I've gone for Cucurella. Basically the same back 4, minus Azpi for Chalobah. I just think that Azpi, right now as he's getting older, he doesn't have that explosiveness or pace to keep up with many wingers. I think in the recent game he was getting done a few times, and I don't want Jack Grealish to be taking advantage of Azpi, because with Man City, if they're able to succeed in the wide areas, that will give them a massive tactical advantage against us. And I do think that Chalobah, his ability to maybe play in defence, he's very comfortable stepping up into the final third as well too. And he is good 1v1 and has more energy and has more speed, more legs. He could be that gamble you're relying upon against a very efficient Man City team. So there you guys have it. That's my predicted lineup. My overall thinking really is, listen, I understand it's a transition year, but games like this, we have to go out there to win. But still Chelsea Football Club regardless. And I think that a game plan of really packing the midfield with as much quality and talent and protection as possible could hopefully give us something to potentially get a result versus Man City. So you guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up now, keep things moving. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Share your thoughts and opinions on the lineup, as well as your opinions on this Enzo Fernandez news. I'm EFC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.